No? Good evening, everyone. Obviously, I'm Jerry Buccafusco. We have our business administrator, Kevin Kane, counsel, George McGill, our municipal clerk, April Claudio, and my assistant and all-around guru, John Walsh. And we thought it was a good idea, and we'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. It's the first time that we've had a meeting like this of the business owners, and to kind of help me out, if you don't mind, you don't have to, but I would like to kind of get an idea of who's here. If you want to just stand up and we can go around, just state your name and what business you have, and where you're located. So why don't we start right here, and we'll just work our way back.
Sage O'Brien from 7-Eleven in Belmar, 801 Ocean Ave.
Okay, thank you.
Do I have to stand up?
You don't have to stand up, no.
It's a tandem bike in, we're the new owners.
Oh, congratulations. Thank you. And what's your name?
Deidre and Corey.
Okay, Deidre and Corey. Okay, next row.
Resident 6th Avenue.
Okay.
Resident on 6th.
Yes, I remember you at the historic meeting last night.
Yes.
Right.
A resident on 6th.
Okay,
Resident, lifelong resident on 6th.
good. Next row.
I'm Alicia Kastner. I'm in the Marsh Art School, close to Jersey Mike's.
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
Kevin Doyle, I'm from Jersey Mike's, over here on 5th Avenue and Main Street.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good to see everybody. Chris, 602 Main, right across the street, one commute for me. I appreciate you having it here. Landlord, but before that, Sem Geeks, which was a web development company, marketing company here. We used to have a bunch of 30-somethings, 20-somethings, but we are remote now and on there. But that was my story here.
Okay, next.
Kate Walters, Sweet Tea's Tea Room, across the street.
Okay, thanks. In the back.
Jackie Emmond, I was the administrative director of the BEP.
Okay. Go ahead.
Christine Carlino, Tourism Commission.
Okay.
Matt Bates, Midnight Candle Company, just moved to the Dons.
Okay. Why don't we start back up in the front?
Just reporter, hi.
I'm Richard Schlossbach from Century 21 Schlossbach.
Hi. I was your neighbor for 60-some-odd years. I don't know if you remember. Yep. No, we know Katie's here.
I'm Kristen. I own the Lockbox and Pin It Up Bridal on Main Street.
All right.
Okay. Well, we know
Sandy.
Sandy. Go ahead.
My name's Matt Wiley, Corner Bagelry.
Good. In the back.
How you doing? Tom Marabella, I'm the owner of Wingman Planning in Belmar, Florida.
Hi, Tom. I think we're on the next row.
Robin Brown, Robin's Nest.
Okay.
I'm Antoinette. I own Daffodil Consignment and Beachside Spa. And I'm kind of her partner. Robin's Nest, too. I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Steve Blackfield, photographer.
Best photographer ever.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Felicia. I just moved into 921 Main, and I own a new boutique, Tuesday.
Congratulations. Good. Congratulations. And I can't see the person next to me.
Hi, it's Jeanette. Cafe Di Camellia, Main Street.
Hi, Jeanette.
Hi.
I'm Bobby Henniger. I'm a 9th Avenue resident, and I'm also a former Business Improvement District manager.
Okay, and finally.
Claire Hayner, resident, 18th and Baker.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. The real, one of the purposes of having this meeting was simply to get you all together, because I don't know if you've met as a group for a very long time, and I thought it would be nice to kind of do that and kind of have an open forum where we could discuss the future of Belmar and the role of the business community in that future. We need to have a vision of what Belmar is like, what our business community is like, and the only way we can do that is really in partnership with you. I mean, you're the people that are going to drive the business vision of the borough. So that's why we thought it would be important to get you all together so that you could also discuss amongst yourselves what that vision might be and how we can assist in that. This kind of came about also prompted by the few meetings we had with the Belmar Business Partnership people. Mike Hayes, I don't know if many of you know him, he and his wife were the prior owners of the Tandem Inn, and he was kind of holding the BBP together for a while since the pandemic. And obviously he came to us and said, well, I'm going to be leaving. So we had a discussion about what was going to happen to the BBP, and we kind of all concluded at that meeting that we needed to have a meeting where we can get all of you together so that you can pretty much decide, start to discuss at least, which way you want to go in terms of the BBP. Should it continue? Should it not continue? Should you go to another type of an organization, such as a Chamber of Commerce, for example, or some other type of organization? We've done a little research, and for example, Bradley Beach has a kind of like a Chamber of Commerce, but it also includes residents, and each one of those types of organizations have been very successful in other communities. So we thought it was important that you all try to come to some consensus as to what, if anything, you would like to do in the future for building our business community. Oh yeah?
Want me to tag in?
Yeah.
I'll tag in. I'm Kevin King, the administrator, for those who I haven't had a chance to meet yet. But really what we wanted to do, we wanted to go through, we don't want to rehash the history on how everything became. I believe the Special Improvement District started in 2010, and then it was turned into a tourism event. And so we had to correct the tourism fees and all that. So now we're back to the point where we want to really know what the business owners and residents want for the downtown. The BBP, the website is Discover Belmar. We really want to hear from everybody in this room, like what towns, what examples that you know of personally that work, what's not working here, and collectively how we get to where we want to go. As the mayor mentioned, we need that vision, but with every vision of where we want to go, it's going to take a core group of you business owners to work together driving towards that business, towards that vision. So that's really what we want to do with this meeting tonight is to start the conversation and figure out collectively exactly what you want to do. So as the mayor mentioned, we're going to keep this very informal. I'll just walk around with the mic if anybody wants to start the process on what you're thinking about, whether you like the Special Improvement District, with a branding of Discover Belmar, or if you know of somebody that has a successful Chamber of Commerce that works well. I know Manasquan, Point Pleasant have chambers that do a great job. Or like the mayor mentioned, Bradley has a community alliance that partners residents, the municipal government, and the businesses together. So if anybody has any ideas, wants to start, don't be shy. We'll start back. Okay.
I'm Italian, I talk loud.
There you go.
So previously, before coming to Belmar, I actually moved my store from Upper Freehold to here. Love Upper Freehold, but unfortunately, in the little town that I was in, the foot traffic was just not there. It just wasn't that bustling town like I take this town in the summertime especially. So what they did there, so I was part of the Allentown Business Association. I was on their board, so it's like that committee that you were saying, so it's a nonprofit, they have board members, bylaws, all that stuff, and they hold events throughout the year. So we did a spring stroll, we did Fall Fest, we did Witches Night Out, we did Martini Night, all these different things to get people into town. So this is just one example, and then downtown Cranford has a great Chamber of Commerce where they do all different events throughout the whole year for the town. So they do a chocolate walk, they do like an Easter egg hunt throughout the whole town, throughout all businesses, so.
Correct. Do you know anybody in Cranford? Westfield has one too.
I don't know anyone in Cranford, but I do know everyone still in Upper Freeholds. I was part of that committee before I moved here.
And how many businesses were involved in Upper Freehold?
So how we did it, we did membership fees. So every year you have to pay dues, which were $100, and then it was unlimited businesses to the town. So we had over 100. And then like doing these events and selling tickets. So like the chocolate walk, you'd sell tickets. Every little store would get a few pieces of chocolate or whatever it is for people to walk around. And that ticket, besides paying for like the chocolate and stuff, would raise money for the nonprofit itself to hold other events throughout the town.
Did you have sponsorship opportunities also from, like, if somebody wanted to do a particular event or something?
Yeah, so we did a really big art walk, and Trenton, I think it's some art school in Trenton donated like over $1,000, sponsored that event for over 1,000.
Okay, great. Perfect example. Just to piggyback off that, like Manasquan, for example, I think there's roughly 150 businesses that pay about $150 a year towards their Chamber of Commerce, and they run all their events and everything with that funding. The difference in the two, chambers, whoever's involved pay fees, whereas a special improvement district, there's property tax, there's a small amount of a property tax, so it creates that built-in funding. So it's really the two. They both boil down to business owners working together towards a common goal. So you're going to still need that core group no matter how you do it, whether you have the built-in funding or you charge through membership fees. So anybody else?
I have a question though before you. Did you have a paid like executive or someone to run, or was it all
So
volunteer?
everyone on the committee had a special job, and it was all volunteered. So eventually, I think if they got to the point where they needed to be, it would make sense to bring someone in to pay someone, because it's a lot, especially we're all running businesses, it's a lot for people to volunteer their time, especially after work, but I think it would be very smart to bring someone in to be like that main person.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
I'm actually, sorry,
Go ahead.
That's right.
No,
My
I'm not-
question on is, how does that differentiate between what we already do in town? Like, who runs it in town as far as we have the Easter egg hunt, we have, we have the food festivals, we have the seafood festival, we have the fall festival. Like, what organization does that all run through? Isn't it the town itself that does that?
That's exactly why we're here. That needs to be defined. The borough runs some of the bigger events, and prior to that, the downtown, Discover Belmar was running other events, and then it's merged throughout time. And we need to define that, exactly how it's going to work, because it's a true partnership. The business community, the residents, and the municipal government all need to be on the same page, heading in the same direction, which is why we wanted to have this meeting. Okay.
So I was actually chatting with, I'm on the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce as well. So business there, business here, and Sylvia over there is more than happy to help us set up a chamber if that's the direction we want to go in. So the first steps to that would be to have a board, then to form a nonprofit, and then there would be one person who would be a paid position. That's kind of how they're set up over there. And about a 3-person board is what she suggested to start. And then they do a lot of fundraising, they do a lot of events. Some of those events raise money for other chamber events. So that's a model that seems to work well for the Asbury Park businesses. So, I talked to a couple folks in town. I popped in to see if there's interest in that. So she's more than willing to kind of sit down with us and help us figure that out.
Excellent. Any idea how many businesses and what the fees are for that, for Asbury?
I think they're a little more than what folks mentioned over there. They're like 250, I think, is where they're at. But they do a lot of events. But I'll pay 250. I'll pay 250 to be at an event for a day. You know, so for a year, you know, for all the stuff the Asbury Park Chamber does, like that's not that bad for me. You know?
Correct, and it'd be a great example to work with.
Yeah, and you can offset those fees through fundraising if you want to start out with a lower fee. Yeah, whatever.
Can I just clarify something? You were talking before about the difference between a chamber and a business improvement district as far as how the money is raised. I just want to point out that one of the differences is that a chamber is not mandatory. And that is kind of a sticking point for a lot of business improvement areas that, you know, there may be 100 businesses and they don't have full participation in a chamber, whereas a business improvement district assessment is mandatory, it's tied to property taxes. So it is something that the property owner normally passes through to the tenants, but it requires, you know, full participation. That's just a key difference.
Correct.
Two things. First off, don't forget tourism. We have a tourism committee in Belmar. That can be very helpful. We have the Arts Council in Belmar. And I think we get some type of synergy going if we ask. Number one. Number two, how many businesses do we have in Belmar?
April said over 200.
Over 200.
All retail or some of the service industry?
That would be like retail and restaurants and.
So anyone that has a mercantile license, right?
Right.
That's where, yeah, I mean,
And
mercantile license holders, over 200.
Everybody hear that? Okay.
What do those fees within that mercantile license cover? Because, so, for example, in Upper Freehold, my mercantile license was only $25. And here it's a lot more. So the dues for the committee that I was on correspond with, I guess, some of the stuff that you guys are covering within that fee, correct?
Yeah, the $115 or $130 if your food is your license and the fire inspection. And then the $200 other fee goes to the tourism commission for the events that they put on.
Okay.
I just have a question. So the $200 for the tourism, what, I don't want to be so negative, but I think most of us could say that really, I don't think it helps any of our businesses. Can anybody say that it really helps?
You have to tell them.
I don't need, it's just like.
Yeah. The tourism commission is designed to bring people into Belmar. You know, and a certain percentage of their budget needs to be even spent, like there's some grant money involved, needs to be spent outside of the state. You know, so you have to market outside of the state to bring people into the state and into Belmar. So the tourism really is designed to get people here. And then what happens, whether it's a chamber or SID, is once they're here, you need to entertain them and keep them here. And that's the whole design. Tourism brings people into town, and then the rest, you know, is up to us to keep them coming back and keep them here.
So that's $200. Oh, I'm sorry. That's $200 fee per business. How are you guys using it this year to help bring people in? Like, what are you doing besides the normal events that you usually do?
I mean, it's really the seafood festival, you know, San Gennaro Festival.
What we spent last year was movies on the beach. It's really a couple more things. I mean, it's really to get people. Sorry, what?
I'm so sorry, but like the seafood festival, for example, is held by the lake.
Correct.
Movies at the beach held by the beach.
Correct.
That's really, even though we're supporting it, you're not bringing people to Main Street itself.
We have a tourism commission that meets once a month, and I really recommend people come. It's lowly attended, so it usually falls on the second Wednesday of the month. This is in lieu of that, so the next meeting will be in March. So I recommend some people come. Nick is a part of the Tourism Commission. We do have a hard time. We aren't the avenue as the BBP. I mean, Nick, you've said this better. When someone comes and asks for flower pots on Main Street or an event on Main Street or something like that, that's, an event maybe is different, but you know, we're not spending money to beautify Main Street with the flowers and the banners and the stuff. We can obviously figure it out. And we're open to hosting more events that are pertaining to businesses, but I wouldn't say that $200 fee falls right into that, like, what do we get out of it kind of situation.
You had just said to beautify Main Street. Now, I think Manasquan has a beautiful Main Street, and I had just read in the Coastal Star a couple of weeks ago that they received a $2 million grant. And they were going to have, I mean, I think that the street lights are beautiful. They said they're taking them all down. They're putting in all new pavers. They're huge baskets, big trees. How do we get one of, I mean, I'm not a business owner, but if Main Street looked better, if we had trees, if we had flowers, if you got rid of all the graffiti, then maybe people would come, stay, and want to come back. But it's a town where they just, you know, teenagers and college kids come running through for the beach. And I don't think we have people that come all through the year. If you go into, I mean, each town, Manasquan, Spring Lake, people stay there. If you go there to the Algonquin Theater in the winter, people are hustling and bustling on that Main Street. They're buying Christmas gifts, and we don't have that because our Main Street doesn't look good. So how do we get that $2 million grant to come to Belmar?
That's exactly why we're here, is to answer all these questions. Put a plan, you need a vision, you need a vision, and you need a plan to do that.
Like, who are they? I mean, I don't know. Who writes the grants for this town?
But we really need to also rely on the businesses to coordinate what it is that they want. Because it's more than just beautifying Main Street. For example, and I just want to go back to correct one thing, the Tourism Commission by state statute is to spend its money on advertising. Right? And at least 50% of that money that is being collected needs to be spent outside of the county. That's not a rule that we have created. That's a rule that goes along with establishing a tourism commission, right? So, and then the other 50% can be spent for advertising within the borough. And as we said, we did get a grant for like $10,000, but the requirements of that grant say we need to advertise outside of the state. So, you know, we will do that, but technically the Tourism Commission is not there to run events. They're there really to do advertising and anything associated with advertising to bring people into the borough, right? Tourists to come into the borough. So that's really the role of the Tourism Commission. And I understand in the past it's been very muddied as to what was done and, you know, events that were done and monies that were being assessed. So I just want to clear that up. But the point for tonight is really to try to come to some consensus, for you to come to some consensus as to how the businesses would like to proceed. If they wish to proceed with a SID through the Belmar Business Partnership, then that's something that, you know, obviously we would support. And if they want to go through with a Chamber of Commerce, that would be also something that the borough would support. So it's really, we're really here to try to get some kind of a consensus to have you guys speak to each other, not just to us, to kind of figure out, you know, what it is you want to do. And it obviously doesn't have to be decided tonight. I mean, this could be the first step in opening up a dialogue between you all in terms of what you want to do. Because no matter what you do, you still need that core group of people that are going to be the heart or the backbone of whatever organization it is that you have. And as the lady in the back said, at some point, it may, hopefully it'll be so successful that you really may need to have someone on staff, part-time or whatever, to run that organization as you get more and more successful. So that's really our goal here tonight, is to try to direct you guys into what it is you want to do, and we'll assist in any way that we can in that regard. So I just wanted to get that out there for everyone.
So, Mayor, I think what we're missing here a little bit is that the SID and the Chamber of Commerce actually is a group of the business owners. It's not really the borough. So right now, the SID isn't functioning. We had one, we don't have one functioning right now. So I think we have to look at, what do the business people want to do? And the mayor left out one option, which is do nothing. But that's your choice. So, the SID would be a group of you owners working for your own benefit. And the SID money, it's a tax. People hate taxes. I hate taxes as well. It's just that money goes to you for your benefit, to be decided by you what you want to do to collectively promote your businesses. Tourism does exist. It's been explained, but this is a different thing. This is the business owners coming together to work for the business owners. So I think we're trying to find out, do you want to do that? And if you want to do that, who's going to volunteer to do that? And who has the skills to put this together? It takes dedication and vision and work. So that's what we're looking at. We'd have to change some ordinances to get things in order. On our end, it's established by statute. We do that, but we do that with you. We're not going to do it at you or to you. We want to do it with you. So that's the whole point here. And the question is, what do you want to do? I think we're trying to get at that.
Back.
So, I just want to say, I think we're all here for the same purpose, what you just shared. I think we all want to bring some events to Main Street. It's just, what are we allowed to do and what are we not allowed to do, right?
Yeah,
are we going to compete against each other? I think there's enough experience in this room that could definitely create a committee. Felicia coming from Upper Freehold, myself coming from Bergen County, being an event planner for the entire county. I mean, there's enough experience here that I think we can form, I'm speaking probably for a lot of us, that can form this committee. I think we just need to know what we can, what we cannot do, and where the money needs to be spent, how much money do we need, do we get anything from the town, just so that we're just really all on the same page and just get ourselves together, get ourselves organized, let's put vision to paper and just make it happen.
As in terms of events, I mean, that's something we've been discussing. I mean, we are, events that a chamber or a BBP would put on, we are in full support. Obviously, it's a partnership between any entity and the town. I mean, that involves the police, that involves the DPW. So, it's a collaborative effort, even if, you guys come up with an event that's a little too crazy, obviously, or something that's just perfect for Belmar's Main Street, obviously, that's in cooperation with us and the other departments.
You hit certain points, right in the mark there. DPW has to get involved. Obviously, streets need to be closed off. There needs to be police that, need to secure, they need to be paid. So, all of that need to be paid, so where do those funds come from? My past experience, right, it came out of my event planning, or it came from sponsors, right, that I went and got. I don't know how the sponsorship would work in this town. If there's enough really here to get funds from. But I guess time will tell.
Sponsorships can come from outside of town too as well, larger corporations and things like that. I think the level setting that has to happen is to figure out what the expectations are of the businesses for whatever entity that we want to have, right? So, Main Street events are cool, some stores might find that they have a decrease in traffic during a closed Main Street event because people can't get to their store and the regulars can't get there, or people aren't gonna try to park. So I think everybody's needs and concerns have to be looked at, and everybody has to kind of come to the middle a little bit and let go of some things that are wildly specific to their businesses and say what's good for the business community as a whole, right? So I think, and the chamber too, that idea is cool because 12 times a year, I believe, if you're a nonprofit, you can have a liquor license, you can hold events, sell booze, and collect that money, put that back in the chamber for other events that, could be specific to specific businesses. Good.
Kate Walters, I own Sweet Tea Stew across the street. So before I go all negative here, I am very, 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 very big on Belmar. I own my property. I have a successful business here for more than 10 years now. I was an active member of the BBP. I'm actually technically still on BBP because it's gone so up and down. And this feels like reliving a bad dream. It has happened at least half a dozen times. Exactly this in the 10 years that I've been here. So we need this to turn in a different direction. It can't just be you guys all sitting up there saying business owners need to do something. You have 200 businesses with mercantile license. You have less than a 10% participation tonight. So turning it over to the businesses is not going to work. There needs to be something bigger picture. There are actually organizations, there are specialists who will come in and work with the town to make the Main Street more walkable. That is what Manasquan did. Spring Lake didn't have to do it because they're 2 freaking blocks, like I can make 2 blocks walkable. But that's what Asbury Park did. That's what Red Bank did. We need to this needs to be a concerted effort by the town, because the town will not be viable without a viable, walkable Main Street. So it's got to start way bigger than just the dozen business owners that are here. We can't do it. I can write a book on what would happen if we walk out of this room and we think we're going to form a chamber or go back to the BBP model. Nothing. Nothing will happen. Also, is law enforcement represented here tonight? Because what you're asking us to plan, poses the biggest challenges for them, and without them being involved, they will not be happy. And it'll end up being like this after the planning gets done. It's happened before.
You don't need to worry about law enforcement. They will do what we tell them they need to do.
Okay, but that's not really, that doesn't make for a good relationship. They'll do what you tell them to do, and then it's like those businesses, we have to have crossing guards, we have to have this, we have to have that. We had a very, very, very successful program with a car show in town. Do you know what shut that down? The $10,000 bill that the police department wanted to give us. And that was very successful. So they need to be represented in anything that we're doing.
And we said we will...
If for nothing else than to say, what are the challenges?
We will work with the businesses to do what you think you should do. The thing that I think we're trying to avoid is imposing events and ideas upon you yes, we can have a beautiful Main Street, but do you want to coordinate amongst yourselves to do anything? Or do you want to just do it independently?
Everybody wants to have a beautiful Main Street, but here's what I mean by a bigger thing. I have between 4,000 and 5,000 people come through my store every month, okay? More than 60% of them are from, well, actually, more than 80% of them are from outside Belmar. More than 50% of them are from outside the county. They come from all over. Do you know the question I get asked a dozen times a day? Where can I walk to from here? Nowhere. You can't walk anywhere. There are blocks between the viable businesses. I send them directly to businesses. I send them down to Antoinette's block. I send them to the record store. They love that. For a while, we were really getting into the nostalgic niche, and we still have that, and we need to grab onto that. But they want to know where they can park their car and walk around. And I have to send them to other towns, and I hate that. Because they came here, I brought them here, and I want to send them to the the other businesses. It's very hard. This is a much bigger challenge than just getting the 10 people here to come together. We're all willing to volunteer, that's why we are here. You have some really smart people who are willing to do this, but if we just start at the same place that we've started the other 5 times that I've done it in 10 years, we're gonna end up right here 3 years from now.
So that being said, combine with the comment you made about starting a committee, if we get a steering committee together right now to work quickly and bring all these ideas to us so we can put a plan together, is that something that everybody would be amenable to?
Yeah, sure.
Can we look into the company that Red Bank Manasquan brought in to evaluate what is needed?
That's exactly what this committee would be doing, is gathering all that information and say, here's what worked here, you know, and come up with some ideas that we can work together with.
Now, is it a third-party company I'm going to assume?
Yeah, I'm not, actually, a person who was on the BBP for a long, long time worked with these companies and tried to bring it to the town a couple of times. But I can find out. I'm not knowledgeable on that, I just know that it exists. Jackie, are you familiar? Yeah. She would know.
I think that'd be very smart.
It costs money though.
Correct, and that's why, you know, we'll take the people here that want to be on this committee and gather all that information for us and create these ideas, and so we can explore them and collectively work together. I think there's another hand.
I have a question, Mayor. Another challenge we always had is that Belmar has 3 distinct different business districts: the Ocean, Main Street, and Marina. The Marina is kind of cleaned up now because, you know, the restaurant will take care of it. But we always had that dynamic. You know, Ocean does nothing for Main Street does nothing for the Marina. So just be aware that that will arise as we do this.
Yeah, we are. We need to coordinate that also.
Yeah. You still know how hard it is.
I was going to say, I think why you don't see some businesses here, because there's probably some businesses that do fine, right? That advertise themselves well, or they have a niche that people go to, and they're making what they want to be making. But those of us who want to kind of elevate to the next level, I think those are the people that you see here, right? So, and I think it's kind of keeping those other folks informed and getting them on board. That's going to be that challenge, and have everybody kind of have that same voice, which is, you know, this is my 11th year, so I feel like when we do have these meetings, everybody kind of wants different things. So the difficulty, I think, is getting everybody on the same page and what's going to be good for the town, you know?
Just a quick show of hands. How many would want to be on that committee to start this process? Okay.
Well, I'll collect people's emails at the end.
Yes, so what we'll do, we'll ask John to get John to have your contact number, and we can facilitate the meetings. We'll have the meetings here, and but you know, this is a good start, and this is why we wanted to do this. Really, just get everybody talking, get everybody together, and get these ideas flowing. But that committee can meet and just start generating ideas on how we move this thing, and the sooner the better. You know, we want to get this thing going.
Question, kind of from a high view, does the town have a brand mission that they encompass? Is it just my view of that, because it all trickles down across a lot of it, and I come from that world, so I've been through a lot of these things, and there's a lot of departments. I think Mr. Black over there said the synergy would be great, right? Yeah, in the perfect world, all the groups work together, but unfortunately, that's not how these are set up. But is there kind of like a brand lead that the town has in terms of bringing people in? And I know there's a lot of people that say the young people and restaurants and all this. And again, I don't have any ties to these, but I see both sides of it. And I know it's probably tough for the town to deal with the people who want volume through and the other people who want quality, because that's what we talk about in a brand. And it all starts from representing the brand. I just think Belmar, I've always been a fan of it, as I think the whole team here has been. Asbury Park, if you think of it as a brand, and I hate to always go back to things, but there were years that brand was down. There's years that brand is up. And I'm just saying, I think at some point it came to what it comes from the top. And I'm not saying it's that, I think it comes from the people. But maybe somebody to help formulate that so it trickles down to groups that are here and groups that care and groups that, and that might mean an investment from the town to get someone in. And by no means is that my company or my business or anything. I'm just saying that I've seen that happen, and alignment is key, and it's very tough, and I don't know politics or that, but I know it's harder in that sector because of the plethora of things. But when people can kind of hear it from that view, I just want to share it and see if there was anything there.
To your point, I think that Discover Belmar brand with those three components that Steve mentioned between the beach, the marina, and Main Street, if you use that Discover Belmar brand and have everybody know that all three exist and there's stuff in between, I think is a great start, personally. But
Along the same lines, tourism in the last meeting, we decided we need some signage and some pretty signage. The signage we have is awful. And if you go to some of the nicer towns, like in Florida or whatever, it's beautiful, it's beachy, it's more fun. So we're going to work on that a little bit, and I think that's how tourism can contribute and get some just with everybody else. We can make this place pretty.
All right, we'll get on that now.
Besides the Borough of Belmar social media page on Instagram, is there any other social media that anyone else is running to promote what's going on constantly in Belmar? Like, for example, Downtown Cranford has their own Instagram, Facebook page that has over 16,000 followers, and it just goes of all the things that are happening in town constantly, every weekend, every business. Same thing with Asbury, they have over 20,000 followers on social media. In this day and age, everything is Instagram, Facebook. People want to see, people want to know, and it's all through these platforms. Are we utilizing that besides
The examples you just gave, are those social media sites run by the municipality or by the organizations like the Chambers of Commerce?
For Downtown Cranford, I'm going to assume it's a commerce because it says dedicated to the marketing promotion of Cranford, and it's run by their Special Improvement District, their SID. Okay. Over 16,000 followers. Do we have anything like that?
We have they have a Belmar.
it's Discover Belmar website, right? I'm for the BBP, but really not being utilized.
So I think the question you're asking is, does the SID, the current BVP, have social media? Yes. I mean, it's not utilized. I mean, it has, since the pandemic, it definitely hasn't been utilized that much. And that's kind of when things jumped, you know? I mean, we all know everything became on our phones. It was obviously very present prior to COVID, but it's even more present now. And I don't think that there was an organizational operation to catapult that into where what you're speaking of. Asbury Park, I don't think the one you're mentioning is the town. Asbury Park Boardwalk has their own, like that's its own, like, Asbury Park Boardwalk's not owned by Asbury Park, like Jenkinson's in Point Pleasant. That's a company who's running that.
This one is just Asbury Park, New Jersey, and they have over 20,000 followers.
I mean,
it's everything.
also,
their events, their scenery, their food, the art.
Asbury Park, what was it called?
AsburyPark.nj.
You guys can continue on that.
This is a great start, and I think we need to really build on this because, in the next 4 years, we're going to have a big impact with the north end here with the bridge being redone. And I think we really need to get as many people aware of Belmar and get them here so that we can keep them here and not have them go to other towns. You're talking about possibly having a ferry service to bring people from one end of the town, to the other, over to Avon. This is our time where we can really start to think of something, whether it's a ferry service, a shuttle service, some sort that is run by Belmar, for Belmar, that's going to be Belmar run, instead of bringing people here. I think this is, like I said, a great start, but I think this north end, from this area up, is really going to see a drastic change. If we don't do something now with parking and with advertising, we're going to lose a lot. We're going to lose a lot of businesses.
So Asbury Park, City of Asbury Park has 4,000 followers. So the one that you're mentioning is, I looked it up, it's like a lifestyle, branding company.
So you know what, they're still doing something.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's, again, I don't know if that's us here with the branding marketing team,
Our borough Instagram account has 7,500.
Which is great.
And our Facebook page has 15,000 followers.
That's awesome, that's awesome. So for specific, like the Brantford one, every day or every week they do a different feature on the business, or they go into the store and they do stories on the business. They're
That
getting
was something that we did here this morning.
Yeah.
We actually had somebody who would go to the business and use a video and do the editing and marketing, and it was great. It was short-lived, and it was really good, but again, COVID put the kibosh on that.
And even like the
It hasn't come back.
ribbon cutting that we're gonna be doing next week, I found out through this process that the ribbon cuttings will run through the BBP. So that's something that the borough has taken, over.
I'm here to help any way I can.
Oh, thank you, I really appreciate
From
that.
upper freehold, my rent here right now is insane, and I'm very, very nervous. As a business owner, I hope that I'm able to stay and thrive here, but I'm very nervous because just being here for the month that I've already been here, not even open yet, I don't see the foot traffic that I thought I was going to have here. And I wanted to come here so bad because Belmar is such a beautiful place. When you come from anywhere, you think, oh my God, let's go to the Jersey Shore. Let's go to Belmar. Let's go, So
We definitely have pockets, right? I mean, we all know Hazel. We all know, I guess even by the bars like Jack's, or the cigar shop brings in their own. I mean, there's different pockets of groups, and that's why, I think personally is why an organization run by the businesses, and using those businesses too as and hopefully they would get involved. I can't speak for them, but that would be, ultimate to get someone that already has this, they kind of capitalize on that social media aspect. They're all over TikTok, they're all over, they have the branding. That's, maybe they would be able to shed some insight on how they are able to accomplish that through, collectively, all of you.
So I know we pointed at Asbury a lot, and ironically, I in 11 years, and I've been in Asbury, this is my 8th year, I outsell, I higher revenue in Belmar. So I think if we do get together and we do this, I think the key thing, whatever format we do it in, is to have a mission statement, set some KPIs for these businesses. What do you want, a 5% increase in this time of year? Look at quarters, different quarters throughout the year, and be like, hey, this is what we want to do in this quarter, and this quarter, and just set some real attainable KPIs and try to go get those with whatever organization we adopt, right? Because that's going to be the easiest thing, because we could talk about this forever, but I think it's just like, hey, what's our mission? How are we going to go get that? What does success look like to every member of the business community, right? Is it a percentage increase, a dollar increase, a foot traffic increase? And then set those on the back end too for the social media. How many people do we want to acquire on social media? Are we looking at the Google Analytics, right? Like, those are things that we could probably just make a list of in an hour, right? And go after and get. And I think we would see a difference. Yeah.
Good. Anybody else?
I have a question. So, using an example that was brought up, say this, whatever we want to call it, this business committee, let's call it, comes up with an issue that we feel is very important, like the issue of having some vision for the physical presence of Main Street, right? Right? Where does that go? Does that go to you guys in the government and say, we don't like how Main Street looks. We want to fix it. These are our ideas. Is that how it works, or?
It could work that way.
Yeah.
We're not the holder of all ideas, all good ideas, so it definitely would be welcome to have ideas from the businesses and the residents as to what they want Main Street to look like. And then, obviously the next step is to have someone come and actually plan it and to give us an idea of, you know, what resources we would need. You know, it's really, in a way, no different than, you know, redoing the marina or redoing the infrastructure. You know, we get professional help to tell us what can and cannot be done. And then at that point, you know, a price tag is associated with that, and then we need to decide how we proceed with that. You know, and that's the way it works. Now, we have to recognize that some of the street aspects of it are not under our control, because, you know, part of Main Street is owned by the state, and some other part is owned by the county. So in terms of actually, you know, changing curb structures and things like that, which might be great to do, it might be, you know, beyond our capability. But an engineering firm, you know, would come in and say, yes, we can do this, we can do that. But and again, it's also going to have to play into the property owners, because some of that vision might be changing the look of, you know, of the fronts of buildings and things like that. And now I'm talking about areas that I know nothing about. So, you know, you have architects and planners who do this for a living. And I'm sure, you know, we would be open to looking at that and seeing, you know, like, what is it, you know, what is it we can do realistically? What can we do this year? What can we do next year? What can we do 5 years from now? So, you know, I think that's another benefit of you guys having a committee or a group to get together, because we don't want, you know, we don't want to have certain people saying, well, we want to see this, and then other people saying, we want that. You know, we need to come to a consensus as to what should be done. And, you know, and that's really the way it would work. I mean, obviously there's opportunities for grants and things like that, but, you know, that changes from year to year to year. So, you know, we would plug those things in as we get closer to the point where we're looking to fund these types of things. So, but that's basically what the process would be.
Yeah, the key is to create the vision and develop a plan and work it, so, in a partnership with everybody. Anybody else?
And we would like, and as that, we'll definitely have 1 or 2 people on this committee to meet with you guys if you are interested. I mean, I think representatives from the borough should be there to you know, to work with you on you know, getting this stuff organized.
If I can make a pitch real quick too, I've only been on it for less than a year now, but I would love to encourage everyone to come to tourism commission meetings, both there and, you know, back there in the offices, even have an ongoing conversation about what branding would look like for Belmar that is cohesive with all the distinct areas, and is respectful about Belmar as a family town and as a place that would be great for families to come from outside of town. And what that looks like and what kind of budget we have for it, along with what we can do as a government entity to encourage it. But the more people who are there, who can lend your particular perspective, the better. So when is our next meeting?
Does anybody else need
Second week
this?
of March.
Second week of March.
Wednesday.
Nothing going on then.
5:30.
What time? Wednesday?
5:30 Wednesday.
In here.
In here, I can give you the exact date. It's the 10th. Nope. 13th. Wasn't on that. 13th.
That's the tourism.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Just a quick thought. So we have a store in Manasquan also on East Main Street since forever. Belmar, 2012, been there. We're in Wall also on Route 35. So we've seen, you know, all sorts of ways that these sort of things go. And I always try to participate on my family's behalf, my parents. So the thing about Belmar is that Main Street is such a main artery where the speed of traffic is pretty, it could get considerable and kind of dangerous. When I was a kid, I almost got hit by a car a million times. So the thing about Manasquan is they have the angled parking on Main Street, which is very convenient. And also, so it's not a fair comparison, but it's a good like reference point. It's a great sort of use case. Obviously, compared to Route 35, in wall. It's a completely different animal, but I think that maybe a good first stab at improving Main Street would be thinking about it from an infrastructure perspective of like monitoring parking, because it's sort of free for all. You know, we've seen it where parking can be a little bit untenable, perhaps not enforced as much as it should be. But yeah, that would sort of be from our perspective, and hopefully a ribbon cutting very soon at the new store. John, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, the mayor and I have been talking about that. I mean, it's traffic calming, it's slowing down. And you see a lot of towns, you'll see a lot of stop signs, or you'll see traffic lights or angled parking. The whole thing, I mean, a good example is in front of the fishing club over on Ocean Avenue. They were complaining, people were complaining of cars coming over the bridge, coming downhill. It's a wide open area and they were flying. So Monmouth County came in and made the perception that the road is narrower. So just by painting lines and making the road narrower, it slows traffic down. You want that same thing in your downtown. You want people going slow, stopping, and if they're at a light or something, they're like, oh, I didn't realize that store was here. You know, so
if I had $1 for every time someone said that to me about my family store, yeah, I'd be like, we've been here 10, 11, 12 years now.
That's all, gotta be all part of the plan, all part of the vision and the plan that we work towards.
The problem is also, I mean, I stood on Main Street one day waiting for my wife, and I could sense that many of the cars coming were just going through Belmar. You know, because you have to remember, we're off of a main artery, which many of the other towns near us don't have to deal with. So we have people coming off the bridge, going up 8th Avenue, turning left, and going into Avon. You know, and then we have other people coming down on 10th Avenue, and they're turning left, and they're coming through again to get maybe into Avon, or they're going to the right to get into Spring Lake. So there's a lot of cross traffic, and it's because we're a major, you know, we're Route 71, starts on 8th Avenue. So unfortunately, I think that hurts the quaintness of Main Street. It would be nice to have a Main Street, off of Main Street, you know, where people could take their time and they could ride, or whatever, but unfortunately, our Main Street is a major artery from, you know, north to south, and it hurts. And we were talking about ways of, you know, like I said, maybe if we had angle parking, you know, the whole idea, you can slow down traffic by making the streets narrower, and you know, it's proven that you can do that, and maybe, you know, and these are all maybes, there's nothing here, you know, written in stone, but you need to get some kind of an expert or an engineer to say, like, how can we do that? Or, you know, put bump outs, you know, where, you know, people could then sit and would make it more walkable, but then on the other hand, now you're removing parking spaces. So, you know, everything is like a trade-off. You can try to make it more walkable, make it nicer, put trees in the bump outs, you know, and stuff. Put an island in the middle of Main Street, but we can't do that because the state owns part of the road, and I don't think they're gonna let us put an island in the middle of Main Street. So, you know, there's so many different ideas that can be done, but I think that's part of the problem, is that people are just speeding through, you know, and, you know, unless you know that there's something there, they're
It's
not
good for
gonna
volume,
stop, you know?
but it's not good for quality.
Yeah, like Spring Lake is, I mean, and that's something that committee can think about and deal with. Like, how can we address that to try to kind of like slow things down and get people to
So when
stop?
does this bridge close officially?
Officially, we don't have anything officially. They're looking at 2028.
Oh, so there's a lot of time here.
She hand in the back.
I was wondering, I mean, this might sound crazy, but if we started with Teon Plaza, I know there's piano plaza, they're bringing in the piano to that area. Maybe they could bring in more trees. I know Friday night they have concerts, but this is the crazy part that you're not going to probably, but where they place the beautiful clock, it's right, there's an electrical box there. Why couldn't they have put that clock near Payon Plaza, right in the set, like, why couldn't they put the clock there? Put beautiful benches and trees and just start somewhere to beautify it. I mean, we're the mermaid.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's already done. But as far as Piano Plaza goes, the work that will be done in Piano Plaza will match the same on 10th there by the clock, so the same stone and the pavers. Matter of fact, we're working on this as we speak to go into phase 2, which will be a brick paver program as part of it. Shade Tree Commission is going to be part of the design because they want to get in there and take all those, a lot of those trees are overgrown, they're growing up against the buildings. They want to get in there and redo the entire area with the pavers and the landscaping and basically redo the whole plaza area. So that's probably going to be coming in the next council meeting. So you'll be hearing a lot more of that in the next week or two.
One of the beautification things of Belmar has always been, at some point, if it's possible, to bury the electric lines. Because the town is not beautiful with those electric lines. It's almost impossible. There's a lot of challenges. But we should always keep that back of our mind.
It costs a lot of money.
A lot of money, it's a lot of complexity.
One mile of electric line going in is $1 million.
Yeah, I know.
1 mile.
It's gone up.
Yeah, we're going to be also having at the next council meeting, Jersey Central is coming in to do a presentation about their upgrades and their future planning. Didn't talk about putting underground services, but they're going to be upgrading their entire system, and they're going to do a little presentation on how that's all going to work. So that's going to be on for the next council meeting. Yeah, we promised we were going to try to keep this to an hour. So I think this was a great start. I'm going to let the mayor close it out, but we have that list going around. What we'll do is, we're going to throw John under the bus here, and we're going to ask John to schedule a meeting with the people that want to create this committee to get this thing started, because we want to do it sooner than later. So I'm just going to let the mayor close it out. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you all for coming out also. I mean, I think this was a great first step because we needed to do something, and I think the fact that we can get some people together in a committee will actually enhance the process, and will help us also and give us some direction on where we need to go, because it's a critical, Main Street businesses are a critical part of Belmar. We do have a wonderful, summer season. Many towns don't get tens of thousands of people coming into their towns, if they're not next to the ocean. And I think, one of the things we need to work on too in that committee is how to capitalize on that. We're bringing people in, 20, 30,000 people on a weekend, and I think we need to all sit together and say, how can we capitalize on that? Not just to bring people here during the summer and keep you guys busy during the summer, but how do we extend that, to the shoulder seasons? And, we to some degree have trying to do that with our events, typically in May, and the San Gennaro we did in, September or October. But, I mean, I think that's our big opportunity. I think that's the thing that we have that's some other towns don't have. We have I won't say a captured audience, but we know we're going to have people here, from June to the end of August. Let's do something to get them to come back when the summer's over or before the summer. So that's just one of the thoughts that I have. But I think it was great. I thank you all for coming, and we'll definitely get the committee off the ground, and hopefully at some point, as they do their work and come to some kind of consensus, we could have another meeting with the group and just keep moving forward. All right, so thank you all, and have a good evening. Thanks.